Hi everyone, this is John here. This video is going to focus on retrieving email, web, and file-based artifacts from a suspicious email. The email we're looking at here in the Thunderbird client is a phishing email that's posing as HM Revenue and Customs, or HMRC. There's immediately a number of red flags we can notice, such as the opening of the email says taxpayer instead of the recipient's name. The pound symbol is after the amount. The copyright text at the bottom looks pretty dodgy, and the email is styled really poorly. Let's quickly recap on the artifacts that we need to gather from this email. 1. We can find the sending address at the top. 2. Below that we have the subject line. And 3. The date that the email was sent is in the top right. Then we also have a URL that's hyperlinked to the text here, and there's actually a PDF file attached as well. There's another artifact that we need to collect here, and that's the sending server IP address. So I'll right-click the .eml file, and I'll open it using Sublime Text 2. If we search for the word subject, we can see all of the information that we just gathered in a text format. We have the sending address, the recipient, which we've changed in this example, the subject line, and the date. Now, if we search for the word sender, we'll get taken to the X-sender IP value, which is 40.92.90.99. We also need to know the reverse DNS of this IP address, so we can see where the email actually came from. I will copy the IP address, and I'll load up Domain Tools to perform a Whois lookup. Once we paste the IP address in, we'll receive a ton of valuable information about that host. In this case, the hostname ends in Outlook.com, which tells us that this is a Microsoft-owned email server for Outlook, and that the email originated in Outlook. All the information down here is just contact details for various Microsoft teams. Next, we need to retrieve any web artifacts, in this case, the URL from the email. If we go back to our text editor, we can search for HTTP, which will highlight any occurrence of HTTP or HTTPS to help us find URLs. We can see that this section here is actually the body content of the email, and we have the likely malicious URL here in A or HTML anchor tags. So we want to note this down, giving us the URL and the domain name. Finally, we want to cover file artifacts. We saw earlier that there was a PDF attached to this email. So you can either click Save As shown here in Outlook, or just drag and drop to our desktop. Make sure not to run the file at any point. We are on a Windows host here, so we will hold down the Shift key and right-click to open a PowerShell window. Or you can do this by going to the Start menu and searching for PowerShell. We want to retrieve the hashes for this file. Typically, we only want the MD5 hash value, but in this example, we will retrieve the MD5, SHA-256, and SHA-1 values. We want to use the get-filehash command, and as an argument, supply the name of the file, so TERMS, and then press Tab to autofill the file name. When we hit enter, by default, this command will give us the SHA-256 hash value. To get the MD5 and SHA-1 hash values, we will use the same command, but supply the TAC algorithm switch to choose the hash type. And we'll use a semicolon to change the commands together, so we don't have to do them separately. Some other artifacts we might want can be found by right-clicking the file and going to Properties. We want the file name and the file size. This has been a video on manually retrieving email, web, and file-based artifacts from a suspicious email.